And go look it up. You guys remember a few years back that Chinese spy balloon?
Yes.
Do you guys know what that is? That was a satellite. Every satellite is on a balloon. Look it up. Do you know what the first? I mean, I'm not making this stuff up. You can go on Wikipedia. The first satellites were called satelloons. You got a canopy just like that Chinese spy satellite. You stick it on a balloon. You fill it up with helium. It goes up in the air. They get way up there in the air. They can fly over Russia and take pictures. That's what satellites are. And you go. I've read a bunch of cool declassified documents. There's a U.S. aircraft called the Flying Boxcar. And what would happen is these satellites, like if this is the canopy at the bottom, here's the balloon. They're way up there, high in the sky, floating around. I've read that. I've got the declassified documents. They're like saying, "Oh yeah, we got those satellites. Whenever if the helium starts to fail and the satellite comes down too low, where people are going to see it, beep beep beep, sends out a distress beacon from the satellite, and these flying boxcars, aircraft stationed all around the world." U.S. Air Force, they have top priority on maintenance and fuel. I've read the documents myself. Those guys would fly up there and get around near it, and they would do it, and they would get around near it, and they would send a signal to the a little radio frequency code to the actual satellite, and it had as goofy as it sounds, you can read the stuff yourself, a shotgun shell pointing up. It would shoot up, and it would pop the balloon. And then the satellite comes down to free fall. And you look it up on Wikipedia, the Flying Boxcar, it literally says, "Oh, they're for satellite retrieval." All right, so that plane then flies, and they've got a cable. It's kind of like, you may have seen one of the Batman movies where Batman threw this balloon up and had a cable, and an airplane came out and snatched him and took him away from a bad situation. Well, this is similar to that. So you've got the satellite coming down, you've got the Flying Boxcar that comes, and they've got a wire that they drag back behind them. And they can, or they actually can fly in and hit the cable. So you go above because you've got a little parachute that has popped up to slow the descent. And you go between this and the new parachute that's replaced the balloon. And you go between that, you get the wire, and then you pull that bad boy in the back of the Flying Boxcar. And then you go land wherever. And one of them landed in Charleston, South Carolina. I got the declassified stuff. I got the list. You read it. And one of the base commanders came out there and he wanted to see what they had in the back of that Flying Boxcar. He said, "I'm the base commander. I want to see." And the guy said, "Look, here's our top secret information that I'm able to show you. Sir, you need to stand down. You are not authorized to enter this aircraft." He's like, "Well, I'm the base commander. I want to." And the other crew member, he charged around in his Army carbine. He was going to shoot that guy if he tried to come on the plane. That's how serious they took back in the 70s, hiding the fact that satellites are really hooked to balloons. They're not playing games. So this is the world we live in. It's top secret, a lot of this stuff. And over time, this stuff gets declassified. I brought with me over there, if you want to look at them, I've got declassified documents from the CIA reading rooms that are now declassified. They say flat Earth all over it. U.S. Army Research Laboratory, flat Earth this, flat Earth that. I've got documents from NASA admitting the Earth's flat. They get declassified. I can show them to you. I brought some of them with me.
What about how you feel about solar systems, like the solar system?
Well, we get taught and programmed that stuff as kids. Most of us have made a solar system model with styrofoam balls or something you had to do, or
Definitely.
maybe whatever, a little project and all. All of those things are real. They're just not what they tell you they are. Just like satellites are real. Satellites are canopies under balloons. That's what they are. Well, the planets are real, but I brought a dictionary. It's an old one, and if you look up the word planet, guess what the definition is? Wandering star. All of your ancient cultures, they understood the planets, as we call them today, they did not understand them as planets. They viewed them as stars. And what we're dealing with is, the world that we're dealing with is, to say that it's flat is an oversimplification. You've got a lot of terrain, you've got mountains, you've got hills, you've got deep underground, underwater canyons and stuff. But the Earth, from the research I've done, is relatively flat. There's a deep underworld, and there is a dome over it. There is a dome, and you can go look at Encyclopedia Britannica from the 1950s. Actually says that in Antarctica, there's a dome about 10,000 feet up. You go pull it up online. I can show it to you right there. And, I know some guy that has a copy of it. But then that stuff got from the 50s on, like, wait a minute, this is now top secret. So then you won't find it in the later editions of it. So it's always a scrub job and stuff. It's always a scrub job. So I believe that it is a relatively flat plane. We've got a dome over the top, and you can't get out. It is the old cultures called it the firmament. And so the planets, so what I'm describing is we've got a very deep underworld. And you guys have all seen pictures of the Earth, like the core, the Earth cut open.
Yeah.
Do you guys know the deepest anyone's ever drilled on Earth? 8 miles, the Russians. And they had to quit because the drill bits and stuff just were overheating. They had to stop. 8 miles is the farthest we've ever gone down, yet they show you these pictures of the Earth carved up like an apple. Oh, yeah, we know there's a molten core. Really? Have you been there? Nope. But anyway, that's the way it goes. So to your point about the planets, that dome that is over us and the sun, and in fact, this is my shirt that I've got on here is the Great Creation Debate. My pastor went and debated, and you can go look it up. My pastor went and debated, and this is a side view of the realm. This is a side view. You've got the Earth, you've got deep underneath the Earth goes deep down, and then you've got what's called the old cultures called the Great Deep, and then you've got the firmament, and you can see the sun and the moon. So if you, it's like a roulette table sort of, where the sun goes around like the ball on the roulette table, and it gets real tight for our North American summer near the North Pole, and then it gets really wide. So there is a North Pole, but there is no South Pole. The South Pole is the outer rim of our realm that we live on. And that's the way you get night and day. The sun goes around like it does, and the moon, and the sun and the moon play a little game. And here's where your point about the planets. The planets are up here, and they're always going around. They go in like a parade-like fashion. And all the ancient cultures believed that the planets were living. Why? Because they move. They associate movement with something that is living. And they're just now the wandering stars are different. All of the other stars keep the exact same pattern, always. But Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, all of those guys do like these wild little patterns. But if you sat down and plot them off, they're cool little designs. But the ancient cultures called them wandering stars because everything else goes in exactly the same order. Yeah. And you can quickly realize, we got a problem. When you're looking at the night sky, all of these stars are in lockstep going around. Well, here's the problem. Because if this star is 2 light years away and this star is 4 light years away, for me, I'm looking 2 light years, 4 light years. Why isn't there a little shift in there? Because, like when you're riding in the car, you're riding on a motorcycle or bicycle, the light poles and stuff right beside you are going by really fast. The houses over there move a little bit. The mountains or trees in the background hardly move at all. Things that are closer to you move a lot. Things that are farther away move less. Well, that's the problem with the star. It's at night. They're like, look at the time lapse. Type in time lapse of the stars. You'll see they all stick together. There's no way they could stick together if they were different distances apart in our so-called solar system. So what you quickly come to realize is they're all the same distance. Same thing. The sun goes across the sky at a certain arc. The moon goes across the sky at a certain arc. And the stars go across an arc. If these stars were light years away and the stuff they make up, the stars would pretty much, instead of curving like the sun and the moon do, they would almost go almost like a straight line. And the sun would have a little bit of an arc because it's 93 million miles away, according to what they're saying. And the moon would have the biggest arc because it's closer to us, 231,000 miles away. But you notice that they all go on the same arc, showing they're all the same distance. So on that dome above us, all of the stars are the same distance and they go around. The sun and the moon are lower than the stars, but they're almost just as high as they are. They're just a little bit below and they go around. And those wandering stars or the planets, they don't stay in sequence with the other ones. They kind of have these interesting little patterns. They do go around, but they've got these interesting little patterns, and the ancient cultures called them wandering stars. And let's be real. You look at Venus, you look at Mars, you look at Jupiter, and those things in the night sky, they're bright. Go stick a rock out in your yard and shine a flashlight from across. It's not going to be bright. That's why the ancient cultures called the planets wandering stars because they're stars. And if you go to the creation account in the Bible, God made the earth. He pulled it up out of water. It says that. And he made on the fourth day the sun and the moon and the stars. So that's all you have. You've got the earth, and by definition, earth means dry ground. You've got the sun, which the Bible says is a light, the moon, which it says is a lesser light, and then you got the stars. So the largest thing in our realm is the earth. The sun and the moon are much smaller than the earth, and the stars are even smaller than the sun and the moon. Now, science tells you the exact opposite. They tell you that the stars are massive, and the sun is massive because it's a star, and the earth and moon are smaller. So it's just abundant. And not everyone's always believed that stuff. I mean, you go back, you have people in the 1800s that were still arguing that the earth was flat and that stuff was garbage. And what's happened is with that thing behind you guys over there, television, that box tells you what to think and tells you what to believe. If you didn't have that box, no one would have believed we meant to the moon.
Yeah.
No one would have believed it.
All right. So we're going to wrap this up. We might have to bring you back, Mr. Rod.
Well, yeah, but I've got the next time. I've got some visuals that I can show you, and I got a bunch of things over there. And I did it free for two of my friends that are Christians. My artwork is published in 2 books that deal with flat Earth.
Yeah,
I can show it to you guys off camera and stuff. But I just did some artwork to be nice, and someone actually contacted me yesterday on Facebook Messenger. There's a lady that wants to use my artwork in a children's book that she's doing. I said, yeah, you do it completely free. I don't want any royalties.